Let's talk about something fascinating. What if that thing we call overthinking isn't some kind of character flaw? What if it's actually a complex paradox that's tied directly to high intelligence? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. So let me ask you this. Does this sound familiar? You get to the end of the day and you are just mentally wiped. Not because you ran a marathon or did a bunch of chores, but because your mind has been running a marathon all day long, completely nonstop. You know the feeling. You find yourself caught in a loop, replaying a conversation from hours ago, picking apart every single word. Or maybe you're busy building these elaborate roadmaps for 10 different future scenarios, most of which, let's be honest, will probably never happen. This internal world building is the very thing that makes you so perceptive, but it's also what quietly saps all your energy. And that brings us right to the heart of it all, the overthinking paradox. We're going to break down exactly why the cognitive habits that give you this incredible edge in understanding the world are the very same ones that can leave you feeling completely and utterly drained. Now check this out, because this slide really reframes the entire conversation. On one side, you have the common labels society might use, shy, antisocial. But on the other side, you have the cognitive reality, a state of high arousal and incredible perception. What looks like being an indecisive worrier is actually the hallmark of a deep processor, a powerful pattern-seeking brain doing its job. So let's tackle that first one head on, the whole idea of being shy. We're going to decode the science behind why some of us have this deep, fundamental need for quiet and time alone. I want you to picture this. You're in a loud, crowded room, maybe standing off to the side. The easy assumption for everyone else to make is, oh, they're just shy. But what if that's not it at all? What if your mind is actually firing on all cylinders, processing all the data in the room, the social dynamics, the unspoken feelings, the subtle patterns, and you just don't have the leftover bandwidth for small talk? There's actually a scientific concept for this. It's called the optimal stimulation level. And the theory is pretty simple. Some of our nervous systems are just more sensitive. They're like high-fidelity microphones. It doesn't take much outside noise, like a crowded party, for our brains to feel fully aroused or engaged. So it's not about being antisocial. It's about managing the incredibly high energy cost of social situations. The psychologist Carl Jung put this so beautifully. For a mind that's constantly processing, solitude isn't about feeling lonely. No, it's a necessary, almost sacred space where your own internal signal can finally be heard, loud and clear, without all the overwhelming noise from the outside world. Okay, so let's build on that idea. Let's talk about the direct connection between that busy, constantly working mind and what we'd call high cognitive function. You see, that constant churn of thoughts we've been talking about, it's often a sign of a highly active prefrontal cortex. Think of it as your brain's CEO, the command center for complex thought. And it's probably exceptional at one key thing, recognizing patterns. It's always on, always trying to connect the dots and make sense of everything. But like any superpower, this powerful ability has a flip side. Psychologists have a term for it, maladaptive rumination. This is what happens when that incredible pattern recognition engine gets stuck in a loop. It just keeps replaying thoughts, analyzing scenarios over and over again, looking for a solution that might not even exist, because it never gets the signal that it's okay to stop. Now, this whole cognitive setup leads to some very specific and often misunderstood daily habits. Let's take a look at a few of them and see if they ring a bell. Okay, how many of these sound like you? First, needing that quiet space? It's not about hiding from people. It's a non-negotiable requirement for processing complex ideas without interference. Second, talking to yourself? That's not weird at all. It's actually a proven way to improve your own focus and cognitive control. Third, overthinking small stuff? That's not being indecisive. It's your brain rapidly running through multiple mental models and potential outcomes all at once. And finally, you're probably super attuned to the social and emotional vibe of a room, picking up on all the things that other people miss completely. So all of this points to a really central challenge, right? If you have this kind of high-performance mind, how in the world do you manage its incredible energy consumption without just completely burning out? And here is the single most crucial point of this whole explainer. Your brain is a world-class perception machine. It sees everything. But when all that perception doesn't lead to a conclusion or a resolution, it becomes unbelievably exhausting. You're just left with all this open-ended data swirling around in your head, and there's no off switch. And this leads us to a really vital and sometimes tough realization. For all its power, your mind simply cannot think its way out of every single problem. Some things in life just don't have a neat, logical answer. They have to be felt or experienced, or sometimes you just have to make a choice, even with incomplete information. So the path forward isn't about fighting who you are. It starts with number one, acknowledge that your brain is a high-performance engine, not a broken one. Then, number two, accept that the goal isn't to stop thinking. That's just impossible. The real work, number three, is to manage it. It's about creating the right conditions to teach your powerful mind that it's finally safe enough to take a break and just rest. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Looking back at those hallmarks of the active mind, the need for quiet, the self-talk, that deep analysis of even the smallest things, which of those do you recognize most in yourself?